pick their moment in the course of the game. So for the Stars, we have no option than to go for broke. We have to make sure we chase the game and get that all-important first goal. And if we can get 2 more goals or 2-3 goals, that's what the Stars will need. But Otto Addo would have to set up his team in a way that would be very offensive. The last time we saw them play against Mali, it almost looked like a 3-5-2 at times. It almost looked like a 3-4-2-1 with Semenyo isolated, Kudus and Nyama playing behind him. You know, he has variation of tactics with the ball and without the ball. And if I'm sure once coach comes in, he'll get into a bit of the tactical bit. But Otto Addo cannot go into this game sitting back. Otto Addo cannot go into this game allowing Central African Republic to throw missiles at us. He has to take the game, you know, by the scruff of the neck right from the get-go.
And we have the men to do that.
And absolutely. I mean, you look at this Black Stars team in that middle of the pack. You could see when Otto Addo introduced Elisha Owusu. Now, Elisha Owusu and Salih Samed now became the double pivot in the middle of the pack. Then it allowed Thomas Partey to move forward.
To get closer to the
Yes. And that was how come Thomas Partey found himself in that position
where
with
he
a one-on-one with the goalkeeper.
He almost broke our hearts.
Yes. And so Otto Addo would want to look at that particular piece of play, go back to his playbook and say, well, if I have to get Thomas Partey more into the play, more involved in the play, I would have to find a way to release Thomas Partey. How do I do that? Maybe I would have to introduce another defensive midfielder to complement the efforts of Salih Samed in that middle of the pack. So Thomas Partey can go forward because we know he has a very good passing range. Crossfield passes, short passes, through balls, excellent passing range. I think for a player like Thomas Partey, anything good that would happen for the Stars today should come through him because he would have the chance to screen his forward line and see how to thread the passes. So the Kudus, who really had a quiet game in Mali, of course.
He's not going to have 2 quiet games back to back.
Of course, the Malians had a plan for him. But I don't know if the Central African Republic team would have the men to be able to keep the tabs on Kudus. Now, you move away from Kudus, and there's a certain Nyama who showed a lot of potential in that game against Mali.
The game against Mali was won from the bench.
From the bench, absolutely.
Should those bench players start or should they still remain on the bench and come in when things are tough?
Well, I think that for Coach Otto Addo, there's this saying, you don't change a winning team. He would want to keep those players who made their impact, those impact substitutes on the bench, and bring them in when the going gets tough. Or if he has to find a way to unlock a stubborn CAR defense. So for a player like Jordan, we all know Jordan's quality. If he starts, we know what he offers the team. If he comes in off the bench, we know what he offers the team. And so Jordan is that player who you go to get you out of jail. Jordan is that player you go to if he has to make things happen for you in 90 minutes. So I think Jordan is a good player to have on the bench. He's a good player to start with. So
it's up to the
coach's dilemma. Now you talk of Issahaku. Fatah Issahaku put pressure on the player with his high pressing to force the error to get that second goal.
Yeah.
And I think that he had a stellar season with
everyone knows that. So
yes.
I mean,
and so you look at the coach and what he wants to do. He wants to have players he trusts start his games. And then as the game goes on, if he feels he's not getting what he wants from the players on the pitch, then you would have to bring in players who can do what he wants them to do along the way, along the line. So I think that the players who came in from the bench, apart from Elisha Owusu, who I think would come in to support Salis in the middle of the pack, so Thomas Partey can be freed a bit. I think that all the other players could stay on the bench, and we might see the same starting lineup, unless maybe a couple of players are injured. Otto Addo yesterday complained about some of his players being injured. He didn't mention names, but he was expecting that he would have a full team ahead of this game. So we are expecting to see the likes of Tariq Lamptey play again. And Tariq Lamptey, despite his diminutive stature, he has the eye for passes. And it all boils down to his orientation, where he came from. You know, the youth ranks, the Chelseas and all, plays for Brighton. So when Tariq is on the ball, you just know something can happen. When you see Nuyama on the ball, another right to dream product, you know something can happen. Semenyo, we saw him for Bournemouth in the course of the season. I think he had his days. He scored some good goals in there. I think if he gets enough support, I think he can find the back of the net against Central Africa. So I think that in terms of the men, we have players who play bigger leagues. We have players who have bigger reputation. We have players who are more talented than players in the Central African Republic team. And it should be easy for the Stars to get a win.
But talent alone don't win matches.
Absolutely.
It's the teams that win matches.
Absolutely. So I think that Otuado, regardless of whatever challenge Central African Republic would throw at him, should be able to do a job.
Because he has the men.
Because he has the men. Absolutely.
Otuado 2.0 and Otuado, the original one that came. Have you noticed any difference in the first Otuado and this Otuado?
Well, to be honest, I think that if we want to be critical of Otuado's performance, point 1, point 2, in his first stint, he drew 2 games against Nigeria. He knew there was a World Cup at stake. He had to do a job on Nigeria. He went in there, got the job done. Nigeria dominated play in that second leg. They absolutely played us off the park. But we did what was important, get the results.
Yeah.
Then he had to play against Brazil in a friendly game. And not too many teams will fancy their chances against Brazil.
Of course.
He lost that game. He beat Nicaragua. He beat Switzerland before the World Cup. Then in that game against Portugal, we saw the Black Stars set up in such a way that they were going to soak pressure from the Portuguese and then hit them on the break. We did that to a certain extent, but the Portuguese found a way to unlock us. Then we played against South Korea, I think our best game of the tournament, where we won that game 3-2, despite the fact that there were a few defensive lapses in there. Then against Uruguay, where we all thought we were going to get that revenge.
The bogey team.
Yeah, it didn't happen. He had quite a decent...
1.0 was fine.
It was decent. But for many Ghanaians wanted to see Black Stars dominate games. Ghanaians wanted to see Black Stars play, swashbuckling football. They wanted to see beautiful football.
Is that not a relic of the past?
Yes, but that's how Ghanaians want to see their stars play.
Come on, misplaced nostalgia.
Absolutely, and you watch the game against Mali. In the first 30 minutes of that game, it was almost as if the Black Stars didn't know how to play football. We couldn't string our passes together. What we could do right was to make sure we're blocking the balls from coming in. We're blocking the channels. We're closing the channels. Our goalkeeper was rock solid in the first 20 minutes of the game. And that he kept us from conceding. So again, you listen to Otuado in the press conference and he tells you, I cannot guarantee you wins, but I can guarantee we are going to play beautiful football. We're going to play better football. And then you go back and you watch the Mali game and how heart-wrenching it was. How scared every Ghanaian was watching the game. I think the play has not really changed. But for a German like Otuado, they have that winning mentality. Even if you have a bad day, find a way to win.
Get the job done.
And so I think that gradually, Otuado would need time. He has a fantastic squad. You look at the average age of the squad, you're talking about 23, 24. You look at the players in there, Tariq Lamptey, 24, Salis, 24, Gideon Mensah, 25, Kudus, 23, Nuyama, 20, Semenyo, 24, Fatal, 20, Kamaldeen Sulemana, 21, Bukari, 25. He has a young team.
Okay.
And these are players who would be ready to listen to the coach, take instructions, and deliver for the coach on the field of play. You look at the old boys in the team. Jordan would be the oldest in that team. He's 32. Then Partey, 30. These are players who would eventually be phased out. But you look at the core of the team that he wants to build. I think that if Ghanaians are patient with Otto should be able to take the Stars far. And so I think that 2.0 has started off well. He started off with a win.
In Bamako. That's a huge way to start.
A huge win. So if he's supposed to maintain the momentum, I think that they should be able to pick another win today. and it should get his second stint off to a flyer. Absolutely.
Yeah, but if he does 2 wins to start with, that would put him on a solid footing.
Yes.
You know,
you look at the dynamics of the group now, and as it stands, you have Comoros in second place, and then you have Madagascar currently on top. So Madagascar have 6 points.
We are yet to play them.
6. No, we played Madagascar. We beat them to pick our first 3 points.
Okay.
Yes. So we play Comoros. Would play Comoros in the second leg. They beat us in the first leg. So we have Madagascar, Comoros, and Ghana all on 6 points. Ghana is third because we don't have a superior goal difference. So again, it will come down to that. So the Black Stars, if they have to win games, have to make sure they don't concede too many, but make sure they score as many as possible. Now, you look at the other 2 games that will be happening. Mali will travel to face Madagascar, and then Comoros will be playing against Chad away from home. These 2 teams could possibly pick 3 points. That means that the Black Stars cannot afford to slip against Central African Republic. So that again puts pressure on the team. They have to go in there and pick maximum 3 points, because you look at Group I, and just 1 team is going to qualify from the World Cup
automatically.
From Group I automatically. So it means that the Black Stars have to make sure from now to the end of the qualifying process, they win every single game. And based on what Otto Addo showed against Mali, if it's about the results, if it's about doing a job, the Black Stars should be able to find a way around their opponents and pick maximum points to qualify for the AFCON, for the World Cup, sorry. So I think that this game against CR is very crucial. Mali, we thought was going to be a tough task, but he made it look easy. This time around, this seemingly easy tie,
it might tend to be there. I don't say that.
This seemingly easy tie, Otto Addo is supposed to make it look absolutely easy. He must get the job done in this game. So, if the Black Stars get 9 points and possibly hope that Mali slip, hope that Comoros slip, then it puts us in the driving seat to be sure and confident of our chances going
that
to the
makes
World Cup
the away match against Madagascar do or die.
Yes. Again, you look at Madagascar, and they themselves have had quite a run in African football in recent times.
Yeah.
And for a team like Madagascar, they've been able to beat the likes of the Super Eagles in time past. They've put up some really good performances. And coupled with the fact that most of these Madagascar players find their roots in Portugal. So the football brain has the orientation of the Portuguese style of play. They're quite a decent side. They dropped their first points over the weekend. I think they lost. Yeah, they lost their game.
Comoros?
Comoros lost. Yeah, Comoros lost before this particular break. So I think that it puts the Stars in a good position. Madagascar beat Comoros.
Okay.
In the last round. So it puts the Black Stars, the group is open. Anybody seems to be able to beat anybody. Mali can go to Madagascar and blow them away. Madagascar can get a shock result against Mali. Then you look at Comoros playing against Chad. Chad look like the whipping boys in the group because they have no points.
We're yet to play them.
So the Black Stars could be assured of 6 points against Chad if everybody's picking points against Chad. But the Stars have to find a way to get results against Madagascar, get results against Comoros, get results against Central African Republic to ensure qualification safety. I'm not sure anybody is interested in seeing the Stars go play in any intercontinental playoff.
That's worrying.
So Otto has his work well cut out for him. Make sure you navigate the Central African Republic storm, and make sure you prepare your team well for your subsequent games, and make sure the Stars get to the World Cup. He knows what it means to Ghanaians. He himself has been there before. He himself has coached at the World Cup. He knows what it means. It's a big stage. He has to make sure he gets the men to deliver.
Raymond, what is, in your honest opinion, I'm not going to ask you to give me what do you call it? A prediction. But in your honest opinion, In your honest opinion, what do you think is going to happen?
I think that Central African Republic would prove stubborn.
But if you don't add a but there, we'll be waiting for you downstairs.
Central African Republic would try to be stubborn. They'll try to pack the bus, try to hit us on the break, possibly pick their moments in the game. But I think that you look at the Stars and the quality we have. The Black Stars have way too much quality to be able to unsettle the Sierra team. I think a slim win for the Stars would do.
A slim win, says our very own Raymond Nyamado. We are also joined in the studios by coach and football analyst Nana Kweku Agyeman. We all know Nana Agyeman is here. Nana Agyeman, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning to, is it ZFM? Yeah, good morning. I've been watching your progress. My office is just around the corner.
We actually see you drive by every morning.
Yeah.
It's great having you here. The Mali win, where does it put the Black Stars vis-a-vis our match against Sierra today?
Well, it puts us in a very good position. I've got to tell you that Mali victory was a lucky victory.
Oh,
yeah, of course it was.
It wasn't deserved.
We didn't play. We didn't play anything. You know, I mean, the Malians dominated the game. I mean, that was clear for everyone to see. And basically, they were unable to finish the clear-cut chances that they created themselves. I mean, in the box. They didn't even force saves. They were putting the ball the other side of the post. It should have really ended up about 4-1. But Lady Luck was on our side. And we were able to scramble the ball in the back of the net towards the end of the game. We didn't play the good football that the coach told us would be our signature tune. We didn't play the good football at all. It was highly regressive, to say the least. But that win places us in a very good position, a commanding position, because of course we're playing at the Baba Yara Stadium, and we know that should be packed.
Yeah.
You know, we know that should be packed. So the ambience there will be for the Ghana Black Stars. I'm hoping that even if we start with the same set of players, with the same formation, that we'll be more positive. Because in the first half against the Malians, we allowed them to dominate that game. We were apprehensive. He had two wing-backs who were apprehensive about going forward and putting pressure on the defence of the Malians. And this time round, I don't think that should be the case. If he uses the same formation, those wing-backs must be roaming wing-backs, going up and down, up and down, up and down, constantly, to provide pressure and to provide the outlook, the outlet for those balls on the flanks into the box. I think with Semenyo, he's too isolated. We take too long to come up and support him. We'll give him good balls over the top, the boy's quick. He'll go and get those balls, and then he'll be in a corner, and he's looking for the support, and the support takes too long to get there. The support must arrive much quicker in order to create as many different options as possible. And of course, we've got to take our chances in front of goal, you know, and put the ball in the back of the net. It's difficult for me to say who should win the game, but of course my expectations are that the Black Stars will win that game. However, I think that in all our analysis of what's going on, I think our expectations are too high. If we don't go to the World Cup this time round, what's going to happen? The sky going to turn grey, or what's going to happen? You know, I think that what we have to recognise is that the coach in his second coming is now building a team. That's what he's come to do. He's come to build a team. Yes, we have these competitions, you know, spread out before us. But if we don't go to the World Cup, what's the problem?
It's in the US and Canada.
Yeah. So, okay. And I think that's a great point, because basically the reason why we would like to go to the World Cup is because the sports journalists will be able to go to the USA and Canada and never come back. Yeah, along with other people who are also going to go to the USA and not come back. Do you understand? So we are egging it on. We need to get there, because we know of other sports journalists who have already done that, and they're away. they're not coming back. They are married and what have you, and working and quite happy, and they're not coming back.
So we must be there.
No, but that's not the reason why we should be there. Because you see, when we go there on that premise, the team fails to perform, comes home in the first round, and here we are with egg on our faces, but 20 or 30 journalists are now happy, married to American citizens and blah, blah, looking forward to their green card and what have you. Is that the reason why the Ghana Black Stars should go to the World Cup? I would prefer us not to go, and for the coach to have a long enough period of time to build a formidable team. That's what I would prefer to see, because look, we'll soon be in the AFCON. We know we're not going to win that, don't we? Don't we?
Oh.
Don't we? Well, we should do. You're the presenter. You should be telling me yes. We're not going to win that.
How are we not going to win that?
Well, look at the performance against Mali. Is that an AFCON winning team? Is that an AFCON winning performance?
Now, let me ask. If we look at the performance of Real Madrid during this run to the Champions League, where they were poor in certain halves and then they come up with something and all that, would that also be attributed to lack, or it was a team strategy?
Well, I'm going to answer your question, but I think it's unfair to even
I'm not comparing
to mention the name Real Madrid when we're having this conversation about the Ghana Black Stars. You know, I'd more like to talk about the Apostles from Wenchi, who just qualified to the Premier League. I think that's a more fairer comparison than to start talking about Real Madrid. I mean, please, you know, we're not at that level yet. And that's why I say we must temper the expectations, because when we were at a level in 2006 and 2010, we still didn't win anything. Because let's be real. I don't know, you don't look like you're 40, but if you are, you've never seen the Ghana Black Stars come off the plane with a trophy.
No.
That's 4 generations. We're moving on to the 5th generation. And we've had our golden generation of players back in 2006 when we went to the World Cup for the first time. And we've not replicated that since. But there has been a desperate need to get there. And the need to get there has not been football related. It's been about the journalists who will go away. It's been about the per diems the management will collect and the coefficients and all those kind of things. It's been about other reasons. And that's not the reason why we should be pursuing a place in the World Cup. We should be pursuing a place in the World Cup because we know when we get there, we will be able to compete. That's what it's all about. We're 68th. Back in the day, the golden generation there, I think we were even 18th on the FIFA ranking. It was something like that. We were in the teens. Now we're 68. There's no rush to go to the World Cup. It will always be there. It will always be there. Let us be in a position where we have a formidable team, where we'll go out there to the World Cup and make a fantastic representation of African football. That is what it should be all about, and nothing else.
Not to rush and get to the World Cup.
No, we don't have to. We don't have to rush and get to the World Cup.
Now, what has the Moroccans got in right that we failed to? What have they done right?
Well, they've got resources, and they use the resources appropriately. They can see the models, because there are models all over the world. We don't have to say that we are doing this because we are Ghanaians and we do it this way, because that doesn't work. There are models of association football all across the globe, and they are working models. Now, I've been saying for a long time, look, we talk a lot about our Premier League clubs and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, our Premier League clubs can't defeat non-league clubs in the UK. They can't. They don't even have the infrastructure. They don't have anything. The culture of of developing football, association football, is not something that we even have. We don't have it. We have to change a mindset. There must be a cultural change. We must look at the models that are in existence and try to adopt one or two, whichever one it may be, and try to move forward. Look, Premier League clubs in other places, they have nursery teams, if you like.
Okay.
Right? We don't. We tried an under-20 before, and we flooded it out with players who were 30. You know, I mean, we can't resist this thing. I mean, we've got to get over this hurdle. You know, you need to have, when you talk about national teams, because recently we've seen more national teams spring up, but basically national team football should start from under 7s. And then it goes right up until your under 21s and your under 23s. That's where it comes from. And if you're a Premier League club who boasts about being the best in Africa and all this kind of stuff, you're supposed to have a similar type of system. You're supposed to, from school. You're supposed to be able to do that. But none of our clubs are able to do that because they're run by individuals. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's not how football is run. You look how football is run elsewhere. It's not run by individuals. I mean, I don't know who the patron is of Southampton because you never hear him. You don't hear him, but they do have a patron, and he does do something, but he's not the person you will be interviewing all the time and blah, blah, and saying this and saying that and saying this. He has a particular role, because there is a model there, and everybody slots into that model and perform the requisite duty that is in line with the role that they have. But here it's not like that. One-man clubs. One-man clubs don't work. We said we were going to do a Premier League that was divorced from the GFA. I think you heard about that. Yeah. Where is it? Why can't it appear? Because we don't know what we're doing. Just talking. We're just talking. Until we really sit down and go into this thing, nothing's going to change. It's now we're looking at fixing up Pram. How many years? We've got national team call-up, blah, blah. Where do they train? Where do our national team train? Where do they stay? Moving pick, blah, 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 blah. You know, Kempinski. You know, but you have a soccer school of excellence where they should be staying. Go to the soccer school of excellence in the UK. Massive place.
We've not invested enough into this.
Mentally, we've not invested in it. That's the first thing, because it's the mindset problem, right? And then financially, certainly there's been no investment at all. No investment. I mean, people pop up, politicians pop up, and they put all these AstroTurfs around the place that don't meet any football standard because they're not the appropriate size or anything. It's for politicking. You can't use it for anything. Do you understand? Anything meaningful. And we subscribe to all that because we pander to it, because I'm with thee and you're with thee, and we pander to all this, excuse me to say, nonsense. But where does it take our football? Nowhere. Nowhere. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? So we need a 360 mindset change.
Where is this going to start from? Or where should it start from?
Well, it should start now. But unfortunately it can't, because we're so greedy, we're so selfish, you know, we lack vision, you know, we're not sincere. We got so many challenges.
You think we're living on past glory in football, and that football has gone past by?
Oh, a long time ago. A long time ago. A long time ago.
Yeah, but somebody still wants to go watch tonight's match and be excited.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love my wife.
Predict and win. Ghana versus Central African Republic. Participants must follow our social media pages and share, repost this post to be eligible. Only one entry per person. Predictions must be submitted before 5 p.m. One winner will be announced from each of the 3 social media pages after the match and will be notified through direct message. Good luck. That is on Facebook, on Instagram, and on X. Right here, Z 101.9 FM. Now let's come back to tonight's match. Then I pick something from Raymond, then we will be done.
Yeah.
Going forward, I don't know, but assuming we win, you being a coach, a football analyst, one of the very best we have in the system, what would you sit back today and say, what, they're just having fun, this is not going anywhere, or you think, Otuado has something, we should support him, he's going in the right direction? What would you say?
I think we must support him. He is our coach. We must support him and we must give him the time. There shouldn't be any interference at all. Let the man pick the players he wants to pick. Let's not bog ourselves down in these regressive conversations about he left somebody out and he left this person out and is a living legend and blah, blah. Let the man pick his team. Let the man pick his team. Let the man do his work. And I believe within 18 months that if that man is left alone, we will have a formidable team again. And a formidable team of youngsters, because all this talk about experience and blah, blah. I'm experienced, but I can't run 10 yards. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, football is being played by young people. That's what football is being played of. You look at you mentioned Real Madrid, that they're talking about Bellingham. How old is he?
21?
He's 21.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And we're still talking about people who are legends in their 30s.
Yeah.
They can't compete against the Bellinghams of this world. They cannot compete. And you want to go to the World Cup where you're going to meet those same players.
The Hendricks of the day,
Yeah,
19 years.
You can't compete with those players. So let's start looking at developing our players, because that's a key thing. Because I mean, you know, you look at our Black Stars right now. Well, how many local players are there? There are none. What is the reason for having a local league? The local league, for having a local league, you pick the best from your local league to make your national teams. Now we don't do that anymore. We go in search of anyone who has a drop of Ghanaian blood somewhere, who's playing football, and then we recruit them to the detriment of our local players. We're not promoting our own local league.
I think the only person called is a goalkeeper.
It's always the same. Always the same. It's always been the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So you see, there's a lot of things to do, but let's give this man time. And I believe within 18 months, we will know the direction of where we are really going. It's not a short-term thing, it's a long-term thing. I think he's got a 4-year contract. In 18 months' time, when we come back here and sit down there, we must be talking about a formidable team with the likes of players that can replicate the Appiahs, the SCNs, the Kingstons, you know, the Muntaris, you know, and even the Ayus, you know, and play good football. If you play good football and you lose, we've played lots of good football and we lost, but the love was still there. We've said, boy, the boys played. Those boys played, but the other team was better than them. I want to be able to say that. I would rather say that than come in your studio and say, boy, we were lucky.
Yeah. I mean, that was the first statement you made, and that was worrying. Because without excitement, the experienced person looks at it and says, nah, you were lucky.
Yeah, we were lucky. You look back on the game. The Malians missed goals left, right, and centre.
It wasn't that our goalkeeper was very good. We were just lucky.
Well, he made some saves. He's good, or else he wouldn't be in the post.
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't
We
be
can't
there.
afford to be lucky going forward.
No. It's got to be measured. It's got to be a measured approach, you know.
What did the past get right that the future is struggling to replicate?
Well, it was a bit more simpler then.
Life in general.
Yeah, things were a bit more simpler then. People, that badge that you've got on your jersey meant something. Do you understand? It really meant something. And you were going to play for Ghana. You were proud. You know, you were really going to give your all. These days, you've got the jersey on and you're thinking about, well, you know, Southampton play Burnley next week and I've got to make sure that I'm in the squad. Yeah, so, you know, I don't want to get injured or anything like that or blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, over there I get 150,000 a week. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get 60,000 fans in the stadium shouting my name and blah, blah, blah. And I come home to Ghana and what do I get? It's just nonsense. So, whilst I'm there playing for Ghana, my eyes on the league, the EPL over there. Do you understand? So it's completely different. Our players weren't playing outside back in those days. So the loyalty, the sincerity, the devotion to country, and the ambition to win laurels for Ghana was very much something that was at the forefront of everyone's mind. Today, it's not like that.
Could that patriotism, in quotes, account for why these boys will refuse to play for the French, or they were not called for the French, or they deliberately said, listen, we'll go play for our motherland, Morocco? Is that what is causing them to excel so much now?
Well, there's that. There is that aspect. And of course, the mindset is different. The culture is different. The investment, the king puts the money in there, doesn't he? He puts the money in there, and people are accountable for the money that is put in there. It's not just a thing like, you put the money, I buy a house in East Legon, I buy a 4x4, blah, 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 and nobody can question me because I'm, it doesn't work like that over there. It's completely different. So those boys know where their loyalty lies. Although I play out there in the French League One or whatever, blah, 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 when my nation calls, I honor that call. And I'm ready for that call. I'm ever ready for that call. Bit different here. I mean, a couple of players have excused themselves from this game.
Yeah.
Haven't they? I mean, it's happening all the time. And where did that start? How did that come in? Oh, I'm excusing myself from this game. I'm shopping at Harrods in London. I mean, come on.
The patriotism is gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. And then people are telling you to love them.
Bring back the love.
Yeah, people are saying you must love them. Meanwhile, they don't love what it is they're supposed to do for the nation.
Yeah, those are very deep thoughts from Nana Kwaku Agyeman. Prediction, Nana.
Oh, we should win. I don't know. I can't say what the score will be. I mean, I don't know who's going to score. Kudus was out of shape come the Malian game. With the impact that we all expect him to have, it wasn't there. I don't know if it's because of the way we want to use him or whatever. I didn't see him. Do you understand? We're supposed to win this game, hands down.
Thank you very much. Raymond, any last words? What are you doing this evening? You're going to be there? You're going to be behind your big TV analyzing and all that?
To be honest, it's difficult watching Black Stars game.
Yeah, it is. It is.
The emotional roller coaster is a bit, too much. So I mostly don't watch Black Stars game. I would normally watch the replay, but I don't watch the live games. It's just too much. It's just too much.
But the days of us going to Accra Sports Stadium with our dads and big uncles and everybody, real. Yeah. It's not coming back. It will not come back. I don't see us dominating somebody so much that we'll be shouting Ofu.
No, I mean,
you got to watch it.
You want to watch a team play, progress the ball well. And like Nana said, you want to watch a team play beautiful football. Even when they lose, you're happy with their style of play.
Yeah.
You're happy with the exciting football you're watching. But you're watching the Black Stars game, and your heart is beating all 90 minutes.
Yeah, it is. It's true.
I mean, it's difficult watching Black Stars match. So for me, I think I would possibly listen to live commentary, or I would not watch at all and just monitor the scores online.
I'll watch, but I'll have a nurse close by with a syringe and a needle to sedate me if things go wrong.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming through. Raymond Nyamado is with our sports desk, and Nana Kwaku Agyeman, you know him, coach and football analyst, talking about 2026 World Cup, Black Stars' chances of qualifying. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and have a wonderful morning.
You too.
Thank you.
Lifestyle, lurcher, and business radio. Choosing your battle. Pick yourself up and dust yourself off and back in the saddle. You're on the front line. Everyone's watching. You know it's serious. We're getting closer. This isn't over. The pressure's on.